Welcome back, everyone. I am the small engine mechanic, and today we will be working on a Craftsman push mower that hasn't started in almost a year since being put in storage. So let's get started. The most common issue is usually with the fuel system, so we'll start with that. We will be using basic tools today. First, we will remove the starter's blower housing cover. Next, we will remove the air filter cover and the air filter. Now, the filter housing base. There are two screws holding the filter housing to the mower, and two smaller screws holding the filter cover to the carburetor. Now we can lift the fuel tank off the clips. Using a pair of vice grips or hose pliers, pinch off the fuel supply hose, then remove the hose clamp from the carburetor. Now we can remove the fuel tank from the mower. The carburetor will simply slide off, then we can remove the throttle linkage. By using a sample glass, I will be able to tell if there was water or other debris in the fuel system. Now we can remove the two small carburetor bowl screws. Using a pair of pliers, pry the bowl from the carburetor very carefully and pour the fuel into the sample container. The sample does not show signs of water, but this is very old fuel. To remove the float, you simply need to pry it up, and it will pop right off, and the needle valve will slide right out of the carburetor. To remove the main jet, you simply need to pop it straight out. This carburetor is covered with a lot of dirt, so I am going to use some brake cleaner to clean the exterior of the carburetor. Then spray all the passages. The main jet is clogged, which you will notice in slow motion. When the jet finally clears, some solidified varnished fuel that was clogging the jet will come out first. Now the jet is cleared, and fuel can pass through it. To clean the tip of the needle valve, simply spray a little brake cleaner on the tip, and wipe it clean with a rag. In the bowl, I noticed a shiny disc. It is called a Welsh plug, and it should not be in the bowl. So we will reinstall it to its correct location. To do that, simply replace the Welsh plug and use a center punch and hammer to tap it in the center of the plug, and it is now set. On the back side of the carburetor is a neoprene washer and an O-ring. Inspect the rubber O-ring for deterioration. If it is good, you can reinstall the O-ring and neoprene washer. Now we will reinstall the float assembly. The needle will simply hook onto the float, and the float assembly will snap into place. Now we can install the main jet, which will face the intake O-ring. When installing the bowl, be sure to align the deep part of the bowl to the main jet. Reinstall the bowl screws, being sure not to over-tighten them. Now the carburetor is ready for reinstallation. Reconnect the throttle linkage and slide the carburetor onto the intake. Since the fuel tank had old fuel, we will refill it with clean, fresh fuel. Reconnect the fuel supply hose and clamp. Slide the fuel tank back into the retaining clips. Release the hose clamp. Be sure to clean the intake gasket mounting surface. Realign the filter housing base to the carburetor, and install the smaller screws into the carburetor, and the larger screws into the mount, making sure not to over-tighten the screws. Now we can replace the starter blower housing cover and retaining screws. Press the primer bulb for the carburetor, and as always, check the oil level before attempting to start. The oil level is good. Now we can give the engine a test run. The engine started right up and sounds good. So that can only mean one thing.
It looks like another one is good to go.